The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run.
But it ain't about how hard you hit.
And I'd hit out the park, no question, with all due respect.
It's about how hard you can get hit.
And you might need, at some point in your life, a little massage on your ass.
And keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a solo episode of the Moving Forward podcast. I am your host, Jacob Lothmer. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, everything Moving FWD Pod, TikTok, The Moving Forward Podcast, and then YouTube, Loth11, where I'll be posting the digital version of the show. So basically, just had no one to record with. It's early Friday, and just wanted to get an episode out there before the weekend starts, just give you my thoughts on a couple different things sports-wise before the weekend starts. So I have one big announcement. We will be doing our first ever interview this Sunday. That'll be dropping on Monday with a college athlete. It will be something to do with Michigan and Michigan State related. It's somebody who I've known for a long time. He's actually been my roommate for a few years at Michigan State, Blake Buter. So he'll be our first ever interview previewing for Michigan State, talking about his season and, kind of growing up and doing stuff like that. So you'll get a pretty fun interview with everything on Monday. So you can really look forward to that. That's a really good one. So let's move into our first topic. So the NBA has started back up. The Lakers have looked atrocious. First thing I wanted to basically talk about is I've been a Russ defender ever since he's been traded to the Lakers, just because I wanted to remain optimistic on his season and what he can do. But he's been really, really bad. Russ was awful against the Warriors, who aren't really known for their best guard defenders, especially with Klay Thompson out. So it should have been a game where he kind of ate, and he was bad. LeBron looked good. Davis looked good. And I think the main reason they lost that game is because of Russell Westbrook. He played awful. They play against the Suns again tonight. He's going to have a bounce-back performance. I think the Lakers hopefully win that one. I'll be taking them just because, I'm biased towards the Lakers, but just disappointed on everything that the Lakers or Russell Westbrook has done so far. That's a very winnable game against the Warriors. The Warriors went on, they're 2-0, so they look pretty good, but it's a very winnable game against the Warriors, and just really disappointed in Russell Westbrook. Moving on, some things that I wanted to highlight from my article that I think are looking pretty good so far. It's only one game into the season, but I think the Pelicans are an absolute dumpster fire. I think they're going to be really, really bad, especially with no Zion. I think they're going to really struggle to score offensively, and their defense is just pitiful. They lost by 20 on opening night to the 76ers with no Simmons, so I just think that with Brandon Ingram out there being their leader, they're just going to struggle. They're not going to be very good. They really took a step back for me this year. I didn't see as much Trey Murphy III as I wanted to see. Devontae Graham was the starter, so just really disappointed in what I saw from the Pelicans the opening week. I think that they could be really bad this year, and I think Zion's getting pretty close to this whole Anthony Davis thing where, hey, give it a little bit of time. He might be the first person ever to not take that extension, decline it, and just try to become an unrestricted free agent as soon as possible. So Zion, it could be, if I'm him, I'm looking my way to get out of New Orleans, even though he has his own problems, and I'm not sure if I would invest in Zion long term, but the Pelicans have looked awful. Moving on to my next topic is the Hawks. The Hawks looked awesome so far. The Hawks are 2-0 on the season. They're absolutely dominating people. They killed the Mavericks last night, and I think you're going to see a lot of that this year. I think that they absolutely will kill teams. I think they're really going to be really, really good. I think they're going to be a top 4 to 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, and I think some people are still not believers in the Hawks, so they'll be one of my sneaky teams that I'll be betting on quite a lot. I think the Hawks have a lot of depth. I think that they can have random guys go off. Trae Young didn't even have the best game yesterday, but Cam Reddish dropped 20 off the bench, so I'm just happy to see Cam Reddish getting minutes and everything, so that looks really, really awesome. The Hawks look amazing. My two more things, the Timberwolves look sneaky good this year. They have a lot of depth. They have a lot of young guys. I like Cat and Ant together. That's really good. Russell looked pretty good in their first game. Okogie, Beasley, they have some really, really nice pieces. So I think on the right night, the Hawks or the Timberwolves could be really, really sneaky. I can see them making the playoffs this year. I predicted they'd make the playoffs, at least the play-in. So I think the Timberwolves are going to be really sneaky. Sorry. my last kind of thing into 1 week of the NBA season. The Bucks are the best team in the NBA, even though they did lose to the Heat. This is with Holiday. Holiday was hurt in their opening night game against the Nets. He'll be hurt for a couple of weeks. So with Holiday out, they might struggle for a little bit, but I still think the Bucks are the team to beat in the NBA. But they could be a nice team to bet against while Holiday is out. So look out for that, because also DiVincenzo is still out, so they're missing some pieces. So Holiday and DiVincenzo out. Bobby Portis is missing some time. So I think the Bucks are a sneaky good bet against team right now, but they're still the team to beat in the NBA. Moving on to my NBA picks for Friday night, I'll be taking the Hornets -2.5. I believe that they are playing, let me check real quick. The Hornets, sorry, this is very unprofessional. The Hornets are playing the Cavaliers, which I really like. The Cavs are trying to be bad. The Hornets want to win games, so I'm going to take the Hornets -2.5. And then also I like Houston -2.5 against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are pretty bad. They're now up to -3, so we'll be taking them at -3. The parlay that I like for the night is actually the Bulls to win, the Nuggets to win, and the Knicks to win. I don't know that value. 1 second. Let me type it into FanDuel right here. The Nuggets, and then where are the Knicks? That's the Knicks and the Hawks. And then the Knicks, that's 10 to win you 14. So not the best value, +144, but I really like that one. I think that those are awesome picks for the night. I'll be taking almost all of them. So yeah, those are my NBA picks. After this quick break, we will now be talking about college football and UofM heading into a big weekend here in a couple of weeks. Hello, everybody. Now talking about our college football. Michigan is going to face off against Northwestern this weekend. They had a bye week last week, so they've had some time to prepare for Northwestern. I think Michigan obviously wins. I don't think Northwestern, we saw what Michigan State did to them in the first week, and they haven't been very good since then. Michigan's going to run the ball down their throat, kind of just like Michigan State did, so I can see this being a pretty dominating performance. But I also see this being a little bit of a look-ahead game. They had 2 weeks to really think about Northwestern, and that's a lot of time to think about Northwestern, a team that's not very good, so I think they're spending some time thinking about Michigan State, and I think that they could easily win. I think they're easily going to win. I don't think the loss will ever be in doubt here, but I do like Northwestern to cover that 23.5 points. So I think Northwestern keeps it a little bit closer, especially in maybe the first half. So if you can get the alternate first half line, it's probably like +11, +10. I'd like them to keep it relatively close in the first half, and then Michigan might blow the doors open there. So depending on what the line is, you could get a pretty decent first quarter value. But I do like Michigan to win. I'm really excited for that game in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll talk about it at length with Blake, and we'll talk about it next week as well leading into the game. So I won't spend too much time talking about Michigan State and Michigan, but I think both teams will be 7-0, and it's going to be a really, really awesome game. All right, moving on to my college football picks. I really like Texas Tech. They're at home against, I believe, Kansas State, and I think Texas Tech is just the better team than Kansas State. It's a pick'em game, so it makes me think maybe something's going on with Texas Tech, just because they have a significantly better record. I believe they're 5-2 compared to Kansas State being 3-3. I think Kansas State's coming off a bye week to be able to prepare for them, but I still like Texas Tech as a pick'em there, and I'm going to be taking Texas Tech. My second pick is going to be NC State -3.5 traveling to Miami. I've seen how bad this Miami team is. They've been really, really bad. I think that's not enough points for an NC State team who's going to be sneaky good and sneaky competing for the ACC title game. So I like NC State -3.5. I think they go down to Miami, Florida, and take care of business. But yeah, I think this is a really, really boring week for college football and the NFL. This is like one of those weekends where everyone tells you to go pick apples, do your fall stuff, take care of your weekend projects if you have to, because this is going to be a really, really boring weekend of football and everything like that. So this might be a pretty decent basketball weekend. Michigan State basketball is coming back in a few weeks, so I'm excited about that. But this is a really boring weekend for football. No top 25 matchups, but they're going to be absolutely loaded next week. You got Penn State and Ohio State. You got Michigan and Michigan State. Just a lot of really good games. Just going to have to wait this week. And I think there's also 6 NFL teams on a bye week. So let's move right into the NFL talk. The Lions are going to lose to the Rams. There's not much to say there. It just depends on how much or by how many. Goff's been getting called out. It's not going well. So I don't see this going well for the Lions. I did something a little bit different. I did an over, under, underdog, and favorite. So Let's start with my over, the Bengals and the Ravens over 46.5 points. I just think that these two teams don't have the best defenses. We saw what the Bengals offense did last week. We saw what the Ravens offense did a couple weeks ago to the Chargers. Or was that last week? Last week against the Chargers. I just think that the Ravens and the Bengals scored more than 46.5 combined points. Might be something sneaky there that I don't realize, but I'll be taking the over in the Bengals and the Ravens. I like Lamar to put up points. I like the Bengals offense to put up points. I think the Ravens win that game, but I think the Bengals are able to throw the ball and compete. So I like the over 46.5. My favorite this week is actually a weird one. I like the Falcons minus 2.5. The Falcons just had a bye week. They've been preparing for the Giants for a little bit. The Giants have looked really, really bad. They looked awful against the Panthers a couple weeks, or last week, or was that a couple of weeks ago? Who did they play? I don't remember. No, they played the Rams. They look really bad against the Rams. Lost 31-3. So I think the Giants look pretty bad. I like the Falcons on the road, 2.5. The Giants just another bad year. Thought they could take a step forward. They did not. My underdog of the week is actually the Titans, plus 4.5 at home against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 3-3 team. Like, they've had their own struggles. I think Derrick Henry's going to run for 1 billion yards. I don't know what his prop bets are, but I'm going to have to look more into those. I think he runs for a ton of yards on them. So I just think that this game is a lot closer than people think. I think the Titans might even win outright, which makes me think I should be on the Chiefs. It just seems like a sucker line. I'm going to take the Titans minus 4.5 in hopes that I know that their defense is going to be bad. It's going to be a lot of points, but I think their offense has the capability to keep up with them. So I like Derrick Henry and the rushing attack with the Titans a little bit more than I like Kansas City right now, which is a weird thing to say. Moving on to my final game, which is a Lions and Rams pick. It's actually under 50.5. I think that there's a chance that the Rams win this game 42-0. That's why I picked it under 50. I just don't think the Lions can keep up with this awesome Rams defense. We saw what they did to the Giants last week, and I think the Giants are better than the Lions. So Lions coming in there against the Rams, I just don't think it's pretty. I think they give them the work. It's pretty bad. So I'll be taking that. So yeah, that will wrap up this week's podcast. Just a couple of things that I wanted to get out. I'm going to be doing a lot of my fall stuff this weekend just because Michigan State doesn't play, not very good college football slate. So yeah, look forward to that interview on Sunday. You guys will hear it on Monday. It'll be an awesome first interview, and hopefully this spirals into something a little bit bigger. So until next time, peace.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows,
As here's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos. It will be a home run.
but it ain't about how hard you hit.
Hit out the park, no question, with all due respect.
It's about how hard you can get hit.
And you might need, at some point in your life, a little massage on your ass.
And keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.